Pastor Mike here. This is the third in a series under the heading, What does this Bible verse or what does this Bible passage really mean? I want to talk to you about Philippians 4 verse 13 today. I can do all things through Him, Christ, who strengthens me. The way some Christians use it, you'd think it was a vitamin pill to give them an extra oomph just when they need it. Like when you're facing a challenge, you're lifting weights or running a marathon, or maybe you're just trying to reach that career goal and be a success. And so you claim Philippians 4 verse 13 in regards to whatever you conjure in your mind. Now this is just wrong on so many levels. And especially since it's a misuse of Philippians chapter 4 verse 13. And it's also a breaking of the second commandment. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Exodus 20 verse 7. When you use a Bible verse or passage and you say it means something that it doesn't mean, you are sinning. You are committing blasphemy. It's not something to be taken lightly. And so why is this not the real meaning or a twisting of Philippians 4:13 in the way that some Christians use it? Well, we need to look no further than the context of the verse and the verses that surround it for an answer. The three rules in real estate are location, location, location. The three rules in Bible interpretation are context, context, context. Hat tip, pirate Christian. And now just by simply reading Philippians chapter 4 verse 10 through 16, we'll discover the context of the verse, Philippians 4:13 in particular. In Philippians 4 verse 10 it reads, I rejoiced in the Lord greatly, that now at length you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. And now here's the verse we're talking about today. I can do all things through Him who strengthens me. Yet it was kind of you to share my trouble. And you Philippians yourselves know that in the beginning of the gospel, when I left Macedonia, no church entered into partnership with me in giving and receiving except you only. Even in Thessalonica, you sent me help for my needs once and again. And let's just stop right there. Again, we're determining the context of Philippians chapter 4 verse 13 by reading the surrounding verses, Philippians 4:10 through 16. And by doing so, we'll be able to rightly understand what Philippians 4:13 means. Now, the context of these verses is the church at Philippi has taken offerings to support the Apostle Paul's ministry. Paul planted this church, Acts 16, verse 9 through 40. He would visit it later, Acts 20, verse 6. And then now Paul is in prison when he writes the epistle to the Philippians, which includes, I can do all things through Him who strengthens me. And so the context is Paul is suffering for the gospel. And the strengthening Paul is referring to in Philippians 4 verse 13 is the strengthening that especially comes to endure suffering. Many times Christianity is presented as a way to the good, easy life. For example, Joel Osteen's book, Your Best Life Now. This is false teaching. To be a Christian is to walk the road of suffering and the cross. The very sign you are a Christian is suffering. And so this is the real meaning of Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. The great 16th century reformer, Martin Luther, spoke of 4 pouches for Scripture. Pouch number 1, verses regarding what you need to do, law, and haven't done. Pouch number 2, verses regarding how you've been forgiven, gospel, through Christ's death on the cross. And then now the last 2 pouches, number 3 and number 4, encompass our Christian life. It's where we're being molded by God into the image of Christ. And so pouch number 3, verses regarding loving, serving your neighbor, active sanctification. And finally, pouch number 4, verses regarding suffering as a Christian, passive sanctification. This final pouch is where Philippians 4 verse 13 belongs. It's where we endure suffering via God's help and promised presence.
He gives me love, peace, and patience, kindness.